So this is a follow-up on the first introduction where I showed how to have the object scale being influenced by the mouse position. And now what would be nice to add is first a transition when we have the mouse, so it doesn't go from small scale to big scale right away, and also changing the color of the object. So with the hovered would be red, for instance. So as you saw before, we can use the lerp, so we can simply have a smaller lerp, but in that case, because the event is only sent once with this on hover, then we need to actually use the tick in that case. And now we can have this scale being slowly transitioned from small scale to big scale. So that's it for the scale. Now let's change the color. So what we can have is set object material color. And now if we do that, so if we change, let's say, to a red, we are changing the color on every object. And actually, in that case, that does it for every object because we are on tick. But if I go back to this and I change this to the default white, we can see that even though it should have only changed on the one that I hovered, it did change it for the whole thing. And in order to understand why this happens, we need to look at the scene tree. So if I split this panel and I display the scene tree here, the scene tree is going to give us an overview, a more granular or detailed overview of the object in my scene. And we can see here that we have all the cube that I have created. So for instance, we can see that I can simply hide them as a quick debug to see which one I'm looking at. And if I scroll to the right, we can see which material they're using. So we can see they're all using mesh standard material, but that could be a different mesh standard material. That's just a type of material. But if you look at the UID, that is a unique string for each material. We can see that they're all using the material here, which is why then as we change the color, if it changes for one object, it will change the color for all the object. So we need to make sure that we have a different material for every object. So in order to do that, we are going to assign a material with the sub material node. And here the default values goes to a material that already exists, which I am going to edit now. I just want to remove this texture. Want to remove the environment map, lower the metalness, increase the roughness. So we have the same look as we had before. And also what I want to toggle on is clone material. This is what is going to ensure that every node is going to have a unique UID. So if I press reload here, we can see now that each UID is different. So every material is different. So now if I go back to the actor node and I put that in red, now you can see that the color is changed only for the object which is hovered on. And just like we did on the scale, we need to have this color changed depending if we are hovered or not. So I'm going to go back to have that on tick to have the gradual scale. And if we want to have a different color, we need to have that not output a float but a color. And in order to do that, I'm going to create a constant. I'm going to set it to color, and I'm going to put that in red. And I'm going to create another one. This one will be white. And now this outputs a color. And here we go. We now have the color coming back to white when we're not hovering. And we can also have a lerp, so the color will change gradually. So one final adjustment, I can close this, we don't need this anymore, is I would like to have the lerp different depending if I'm hovering over the object or if I'm moving the mouse away from the object. So that it goes to red quickly, but then it fades off back to white. So I'm going to copy this one, and let's say I want to have a lerp of 0.2 when I'm moving the mouse over the object, but a very small one, 0.01 when I am moving away from the object. So that's what happens. You can see now that we go to red quickly, but then we go back to white more slowly. And just for fun, let's make it even more of those objects. So you can see that we have a completely procedural setup where we change the behavior, it's applied on all the objects if we duplicate them using the copy sub or any other method. So that's it for this second video. That should give you a better overview of what the actor nodes can do. I'm just going to delete that to make that a little clearer, so it's not a complete mess. And we're going to see in future video how to make even more elaborate setup, which you can reuse from scene to scene, or which can affect characters. There is a lot more to come. That should give you at least enough to get started. So yeah, see you in a later video. Thank you.